Lance Hall here for Let's Discuss with Lance Hall. Happy to welcome Cody and Scottie from Artifas tonight. How you guys doing?
Doing pretty good.
Good. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. Cody, of course, guitarist. Scottie is the lead vocalist, and you two are the founding members of the band.
Indeed.
This is true.
I heard this all came about from a freezing trip to see Chevelle in a soft top car in about 10 degrees.
Oh, he did his homework.
Man, okay.
He did his homework.
That's
this
impressive.
is gonna be fun. Okay. Yeah, that's actually where the seeds of the band were kind of sown, I guess. Scottie and I were in two different bands at the time. I was it was actually for my 18th birthday, and we just went up to see Chevelle, and on the way up there, on the way back, we were just talking about our love for music and the bands that we like, and kind of just, throwing ideas around about what it would be like if we ever started a band together. Yeah. And then probably not even 6 months after that, the stars aligned and we did it.
It was it was the coldest trip ever too, because it was like, where was it? St. Louis, right, Cody?
Yeah.
And it was snowing like crazy. And at that time I had a Jeep Wrangler and it had a soft top and soft doors. Cold wind just blowing in the whole time, but it was worth it.
Couldn't even hear the radio. We're like talking about, our favorite Chevelle songs, but I'm like having to yell over the sound of the doors, like flapping on the side.
We should start a band.
Yeah, pretty much.
I was gonna say those Jeeps weren't exactly known for their heaters either,
No.
So I'm trying to figure out if I've got this right. Album Reflections out on Imogen Records came out a while ago, but it just hit streaming platforms a couple days ago.
Yeah, with the way the industry's going right now, we kind of tailored our approach, a little differently with the releasing of this record. We started pumping out singles online back in August, but for the fans that were attending our shows and they're in person, they could have purchased the entire thing. It was kind of, I guess, like for lack of better terms, like a marketing campaign, Mm-hmm. Keep the digitals interested and constantly give them something new to maybe trip those algorithms. So we did actually kind of drop the record, but the online streaming service haven't had it for that long.
It's like just the world we live in is like people just want newness, content constantly coming out, and we wanted to spread out this release to where we're constantly giving our fans something new rather than dropping it all on them at once.
Yeah, I mean, everybody wants everything so instantaneous, and as soon as you get one thing out, it's like, okay, what's next,
Right.
Attention spans are pretty short these days.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm guilty of it as well.
Same.
I follow like some YouTubers and whatnot, and I'll be like, man, he hasn't posted a video in a week.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's like it takes a lot of work to put that video together.
Absolutely. I was watching the behind the scenes on the Leave Me for Dead video. I got some questions on that, but I want to jump back here for a little bit, just talk about the album for a second. Bit of a marathon with this album, almost like a Def Leppard Hysteria story here. You guys started out working with some outside people, scrapped everything and restarted. Did any of the original ideas make it into this, or did you just go totally blank slate?
No, a lot of them.
Okay.
Some of these, like we actually recorded 4 of the songs as a group of 5 that was originally going to be released as an EP. And we actually ended, up using probably most of those songs, changing a few things here or there and just kind of spicing it up to the way we want it to be. But the foundation of those songs is primarily the same.
Okay. Excellent. And then you got Forrester Swell to mix and master. How'd you meet up with him?
Well, so Forrester is the mix engineer for mine, and I know it's one of Cody's favorite records, and favorite records plural. He's done quite a few of our favorite records, and so we hit up since we decided to just record it ourselves and produce it all ourselves, we said, since we saved the money on that, let's put some money into a good mixing engineer. And so we made a list of, here's our top 5 guys, and Forrester was at the top of that list, and he was also the only one that fit in our budget, so it worked out perfectly. Like he was amazing. He got done exactly what we were wanting. As soon as we got it back, we were just like, yes, this is what we've been looking for.
I have to commend him, honestly. Like, I don't know any other world-renowned top-tier mixing or mastering engineer that would be as patient with the level of notes that we sent back and
Yeah.
forth, because it got to the point where like every time I sent him an email with notes, I just wanted to be like, oh, I'm so sorry that we're doing this to you, but here we go again.
And then you guys sort of jumped into the production as well, right? Had you done that before, or was this total learn as you go?
Well, Cody and I both, have done. When we started doing this record, we've really only done a handful of artists, each of us ourselves.
I had
as
never
far
done
as
any.
like,
That was my first.
okay, well, yeah.
Other than just being on Artifas Records, obviously.
So like, I had some experience there, and we both like spent, our entire, later teen years and 20s, like, and everything all in the studios, so we picked up a lot there. And one day, we just kind of looked at each other and we were like, hey, this is kind of scary. It's a scary move, but let's just produce this and make it ourselves. Like, we know what we want to sound like. We know what we want the songs to be and what we want the parts to be. We just got to get good recordings of them. Mm-hmm. And so, so we just dove in, and it was like a learning process as we went through it. Like, there's so many things that we learned that will go into the, the next recording process, just because, you run into these issues, and then you're like, oh, I know how I can fix that next time. So the next one should be a little bit easier, but we'll see.
No, it definitely will, I think.
Very cool. I want to jump into some of the songs and a couple of the videos and stuff. I listened to the album a couple times while I was prepping for this. The first thing I want to say is the album flow. The way this album flows is awesome. You guys pay a lot of attention to sequencing.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. With our live shows and the way that we lay out our records, we have pretty extensive conversations about, the way that they're ordered, because honestly, to us, the energy is probably the single most important factor of any of it.
Yeah.
And when discussing how to relay that to fans and keep people interested, the ebb and flow of the heaviness or the softness or whatever the characteristic may be, that can really keep people interested.
Very cool.
And that along with like just the roller coaster of emotions that that we're able to kind of play with putting that together, because that was honestly my favorite thing about making this record. Was we didn't try to like make a record that sounded like anything. Like, even the songs are just, a lot of the songs are vastly different from each other, and that's something we really wanted to go for, was every song being able to stand on its own. And for people to go, that's that song, not just, there's some bands you'll hear and they'll put out a new song and you'll be like, man, I feel like I've already heard that song, and we just didn't want to have that response.
Right. The other thing I liked about this is you got 11 tracks, but it tracks in at 37 minutes. So it's easy to digest. And if you want to go back to the old school days of throwing an album on a TDK SA90, like I used to, you could fit the whole album on one side of the tape,
Nice.
Right.
It wasn't something we did intentionally at all. It just, I guess when writing music, that's kind of like the conversation, sometimes people ask us like if we try to write music like a certain way, like commercially or radio or whatever. And like, we didn't really go into it trying to do that. We just really enjoy listening to radio friendly or radio ready music. And typically the songs that we're jamming, are 4.5 minutes or shorter. So that's kind of how ours come out.
Yeah, and it's great. I mean, and I'm not saying it's bad, but you take like, I don't want to name a group, but a group who puts out these 55, 60 minute opuses that are great. Sure. But damn, they're hard to set through in one sitting.
Sure.
Yeah. There's like, I feel like bands like that exist for musicians.
Yeah.
Just
so
to really
that we
dig
can
in.
listen.
It's like blow our minds, and it's not for the guy that's going to be singing along at the bar. You know what I mean?
You've got a great 1-2 opening punch here with Lament and Leave Me Dead. The Lament's kind of atmospheric. Sounds like something could be like, like an intro in a horror film or something. I love the way you used it on the intro for Leave Me Dead. Talk about the video for that. Where was that one shot?
It was actually yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just at my grandparents' house. They live probably about like 40 minutes from me, like way out in the country, and they've lived there for as long as I can remember. Most of my dad's life probably, and used to be a pasture for horses and stuff. And I saw out there one afternoon, and we were talking about this music video, and I was just like, man, maybe we should just use this old creepy barn and this old, grown out field and do it out here. So luckily they agreed to let us do it.
The other
And
thing I
cooked us a
noticed,
great meal.
oh, very cool. The other thing I noticed was on the making of video, the sun was out really bright. You guys were hot, but then it looked like on the day of the video, it was sort of overcast. I imagine it being still pretty muggy and sticky, but I thought the overcast and the dark clouds gave the video that much better perspective.
Some of that is post, but some of that was legit. Like it was
Yeah, for sure.
very hot, but for like the first several takes that we did as a full band of the performance scenes, it was actually raining and cloudy. I was kind of nervous about getting out there with my guitars and stuff, but Scotty.
Yeah, it was
Scotty
a nasty day. I did. I was like, you got to bring it out here.
The perils of rock and roll,
Yeah,
right.
But those turned out to be some of my favorite shots. And then the sun did eventually come out, and it got really hot. And of course, we had to get the film editor to do some magic on that to make it all look creepy.
Yeah. Heavy lyrics in that song as well. I like the line, "You played me, you blame me for the thoughts that only live inside your head."
Yes,
that's awesome. That's
awesome. Well, a lot of times, when things start to get bad between people, they tend to only really hang on the most negative of thoughts, and that's kind of where that line was coming from. It's like, you want to view me basically as just that person when there's so much more to the equation,
It kind of comes down to like people's perception. Like you're basing this off of your perception, which may or may not be a legitimate representation of who I am.
Yeah, fantastic. I loved it. Track 3, Safe. Another great video. Who comes up with the concepts for your videos? Do you guys do them yourselves? Do you have an outside video co?
Yeah, I mean, it usually just ends with like some thought, and then like for instance, for Leave Me for Dead, I was driving to Memphis one day, and I was just like, I had this thought of burying ourselves, and I just called Cody, I think at first I called him and said, I think we should bury each other for this video.
Called you back like 10 minutes later, and I was like, so hear me out. What if we buried ourselves?
Yeah. So it's just kind of brainstorming those ideas. And like for Safe, initially it was the thought was, of a psychiatric ward and the people in there being experimented on, but they're locked up in there against their will. And at the end, they just kind of break out, and that, just turned into something else. And
the underlying
they kind of morph day to day.
Yeah. The underlying story arc that really kind of sparked Safe was the song. I guess the song topic was, to us is about climbing that proverbial mountain and chasing your goals and overcoming whatever obstacles may or may not be in your way. And, for us, obviously the inspiration behind that when we wrote it, mostly being in this band and our careers as musicians. And so we kind of wanted to take that and be like, how can we visualize like us as a group working together to solve a problem and, to unite for a greater cause. And that, like he said, somehow manifested itself into all of us breaking out of this insane asylum and doing all this weird stuff. So
yeah, the line in there I loved it was, "Embrace the fall, don't look back."
Yeah,
I thought that was
very
cool line. The other thing I liked in that song was about 20 seconds in, right after Scottie sings the second line of the song, there's I was listening to it through headphones. I got a really decent set of headphones. This is where I like, because you can hear everything.
Awesome.
There were is it a guitar or chimes, and it kind of panned around a little bit.
Probably the programming aspects.
Yeah.
I call it the bubbly sounds.
Yeah. I thought those brought a great dynamic to the song.
Yeah, thank you. Something we try to do is really fill the whole spectrum of sound. So if this guitar part's just going and there's a lot of space, how can we fill that space to where it's something that's not getting in the way but supporting what's happening.
Exactly.
And interesting sounds.
We've always been really keen, some of our favorite bands to listen to over the years have been bands like Red, that are have a lot of programming and instruments that may not be usually associated with heavy metal or rock. And we try to accompany that stuff in there too, because heavy and pretty, in my opinion, go together quite well.
Yeah. And then on the next track, Cut Me Out, I'm hearing these sort of, I'll call them chimes again, which I loved. And then am I hearing strings later on in that track?
Probably.
Yeah.
There's strings
Yeah,
in a lot of our songs.
There's a lot of strings on the record. They're not as out front.
Yeah.
But if you really put your ear to it, you can hear what's going on with them. Then again, they're another one of those, just kind of, they're filling that space up.
Yeah. And Cody, I got to commend you. I'm a guitar solo guy, killer solo in that tune. And
Thanks so much,
I love the solo in that one.
Yeah, he's got the tasty licks, that's for sure.
He does.
Do what I can.
Gonna skip down to track 7, which is Legacy. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Again, your lyrics
on the record, honestly.
Live your life like you're afraid to die. Live a life that will, that was a line. Live a life like you're afraid to die. What I've been preaching to people is live a life that will leave you in awe, because in the end, you're the one that's got to, be satisfied with it. And,
absolutely.
Look back, and if you can look back and go, damn, I can't believe
the song is really meaningful to me, because I feel like something that I struggle with a lot is, I guess one of my biggest fears really is kind of leaving the world, not having accomplished certain goals, or made a quote legacy for myself. And every time I hear that song, it's kind of like a slap in the back, like, get up, dude, go do your shit, go do what you got to do.
And that song's for people that also just need that little push to chase whatever that dream is. A lot of times that's a really scary move for a lot of people. And I remember there was a point in my life where I was teaching high school drum lines, and I knew what my dream was, and I was just, first off, unsure how to get there and scared to death to try. But I knew that at the end of the day, if I didn't give it all I had, that I'd spend the rest of my life going, what if I would have tried that?
Right.
And 10 years later, honestly, that thought process is still applying,
Absolutely.
It's like when you think about, the possibility of not doing this anymore or moving to something else, that's always one of the most forefront thoughts in my mind. It's like, what will I think for the rest of my life if I don't get to find this out?
Yeah, definitely. I think for every high school senior that's graduating, that song should be like a required listening.
That would be so cool if that was the new graduation song.
I'm down with that. Sign me up.
No more Pop and Circumstance.
There you go. Just go with that. Track 8, Inside the Machine. The first thing that jumped out on me was the bass line. Love the bass line in this, and I found this track to my ears to be a little darker than some of the other tracks that I'd heard on this one.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
It's a weird track. We kind of tried to do a little something different with that one, not necessarily musically, but lyrically. We were all kind of watching a lot of Westworld at the time, and we kind of wanted to write a song really about self-awareness, and just, I guess, finding oneself and trying to own that. And somehow we came to the agreement that we were going to write a Westworld inspired song, and that's kind of what it turned into, I guess.
It's very cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why we like. There's some machine sounds in there, and robotic vocals and whatnot. A lot of that came from actually while we were recording the initial 5 songs that we ended up changing out. We were in that process. We were watching Westworld, and when it came to the spot, as it goes, the artificial intelligence starts having thoughts of their own and emotions of their own. And I just thought that was so interesting and relatable to human beings as well. So that's kind of where we went with that song.
Nice. Very cool. Skip to the last track, number 11, Wannabe. This was not the Spice Girls cover that I thought it was going to be. The note I have, the one word I have to describe it is savage. You guys are mad as hell and not going to take it anymore. You're downright pissed on this song.
Man. Tell
me about it.
Yeah. So I guess it kind of wraps up to sometimes in your hometown there I gotta be careful.
I got you. Let me bail you out here. There have been known to be people in our hometown. This is what inspired the song, that tried to do things that we were doing and claim that they were doing it. And
Mhm.
we're not trying to say we're trendsetters or anything like that, but we're just trying to do our own thing, and we think everybody should. And that song was just kind of a venting on that. Honestly, since we've wrote it, and released it, it's kind of taken on a little bit more of a broader meaning to me. Now it's kind of a bit of a testament to other bands or artists that might get to the end game a little quicker than us, but haven't put in the dues and haven't earned their medal and been out there paying dues the way that we have for the last 10 years. So I kind of it's kind of like almost an industry thing too for me now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. You guys got raked over the coals, by the labels, and I've interviewed other, when I was researching with this, I thought of a time when I talked with Marty McCoy of Bobaflex, and they were
Yeah.
sort of in the same situation at times, and
Yeah.
Sure.
it
those
happens
guys
and it
quite well.
sucks.
It really does. It's a rough industry. You gotta really stick with the people that you can trust, and you gotta stick with
There's not
the
many
people
of them.
that are gonna keep pushing you forward. It's tough, man. But the ones that make it are the ones that have the gumption and the will to not give up.
Yeah, I saw this thing the other day on the internet. It was like the most valuable skill a musician can learn is the skill to not give up. I was
Definitely.
like, hell yeah.
Now going forward, as far as touring, I see you guys are going to do Metal in the Mountains in August up in Pipestem, West Virginia. Anything else in the pipe tour wise?
Yeah, we got some stuff coming down the pipeline right now. Nothing we can really talk about or divulge, but we're road dogs. That's where we want to be. We want to play music and be shaking hands with people and just hanging out and hearing people's stories. So we're definitely planning on being on the road, for a large portion of the rest of the year. And
We'll
we're
also
just waiting on
be
that stuff to get figured out.
we'll also be at NAMM the beginning of June in Anaheim, California with Monster Cables, helping represent them at the NAMM show.
Awesome. I mean, it's got to kind of suck. First we had COVID that shut everything down. I mean, you guys were able to play some, but not like you normally would. Now COVID's sort of loosening up. Things are starting to open up, and the freaking price of gas is, unreal.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's outrageous. Like, and especially when you're driving around a Class A RV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That gets 10, 12 miles to the gallon.
It's painful.
Luckily,
we're not on the road right now.
It's just another side of rock and roll that a lot of people don't think about,
Absolutely, man. That's so true. Like when we started doing this, and I guess when any musician, starts hitting the road, you don't realize all, to the everyday person, it just seems like you show up at the show, you play your show, and then you party afterwards, and that's what you think you're getting into when you get out on the road. But there's so many other things, the interviews and the calls with your team and
Bus
just
issues.
taking bus issues and handling the books. And there's just, I mean, it's a full-on business you got to run.
Honestly,
Yeah.
just finding a way, for a band at our level to make it livable for everybody has taken us years to cultivate. Not until, the last handful of years has the touring experience been one that is enjoyable by the people that are doing it. We were 8 people deep in a van and suitcases and everything, and eating like KFC and McDonald's 3 times a day for years. We did that shit, and it took us years to figure out, all the little things that you have to change and that you have to get down with to make it livable for everybody involved.
Definitely. Let's go back a little bit in time. And Scottie, I apologize to you because originally when Shauna texted me, Shauna O'Donnell set this up. I thought I was just gonna be talking to Cody, which I don't mind. You've been awesome. I love it. But I did a little more research on Cody than I did you, Scottie. So
it's all good. Let him have it.
I'm gonna have to rely on you to fill in the blanks. But
I get to be the lead singer today.
Little bit of a backstory. Cody, you were in your first band at around 14. It was called Riptide.
Yeah, somewhere around there, about 14 or 15.
And your brother played drums?
Yeah, that's actually how I met Scottie.
Look, let me tell you, before he gets into this. So I was in another band at the time, and in our hometown, I put together this big parking lot of palooza, I called it. Had like 20 bands play on the outside stage, and then I had bands play on the inside of a coffee shop.
Yeah.
And early in the day, Cody's band Riptide was playing, him and his brother, and I'd never heard him before. And his dad, comes up to me and he's like, "Hey, come check out my boys. They're inside." And I walk in, and these kids were slaying it. And I was just like, "What is going on here? This kid's 9 years old, slaying these drums. Cody's like jumping around the stage of this coffee shop like it's a stadium." And I'm just like, "Who are these kids?" And we just kind of formed a bond from there, and that's how our whole relationship began.
That is awesome. Cody, your brother didn't want to go on the rock and roll ride with you?
No, he's got commitment issues when it comes to hobbies.
Okay.
he probably could have been one of the best drummers I know, but he decided to go pursue some other things. He's an amazing athlete as well, and has done some other awesome things too. So
that's cool.
That was just a part of his developmental phase, I guess.
Now, you originally started on drums though, and then switched to guitar, correct?
How do you know all this?
I do my research, buddy.
Dude, do you know who Nardwar is?
This was that like rock Nardwar.
You're the Nardwar of rock, man. This is nuts.
I did. My first love for music came from the drums. I never had a kit of my own. I would go to like friends' houses that had kits and just kind of lose myself in it for hours, just playing my favorite songs. And my dad, when he found out I was into music and really wanted to get serious with it, he offered to get me a guitar because he was like, "Drums don't have a volume knob and guitars get you way more chicks."
There you go.
And
Father knew best, didn't he?
So then I just picked up the guitar and fell in love with it. I still love the drums too. One day I'll have me a nice little drum kit to play.
Cool. Now, back in the day, you used to also sort of be in your room with whatever you could find for guitar and whatever you could find for microphone and do sort of air band stuff. To all the hair bands.
Probably used to make fun of me back then. Yeah, this guy's going deep. Yeah, I did.
I'm convinced you had a hidden video camera, man.
Like, who else knows this about me? I don't know.
It's all there, Cody. It's all on the internet.
That's kind of how I fell in love with it, really. My love for playing instruments has always been, for the performance side of it, just being in front of people and wanting to be on a stage and rock out. And when I was, growing up listening to stuff like Rad and Motley Crue, I would just kind of be in my room, air guitaring or doing whatever, pretending like, going through the motions. So I guess I had a little extra practice on my stage moves before I actually got to the instruments.
So, Scottie, fill in the blanks. I can't, I can't tell you this is your life, but
I can. Let me tell you some stuff about Scottie.
All right, tell us.
Scottie actually is a educated drummer himself. He has a degree in worldly percussion. That's super dope.
Very cool.
What else is dope about Scottie? Scottie can play all other than drums. He can play bass, piano, guitar, vocals. Obviously, that's a lot of instruments. I can't play those.
Yeah, you can.
No, I can't play piano. And I can't sing like you can. That don't count.
You can get around on one. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think hitting random keys and being like, "Ooh, that sounds good." I don't think that counts.
Scottie, did you ever take like vocal lessons, singing choir, high school choir or anything like that?
And I actually did no vocal anything through all of my music education coming up. I just always just sang in the car or out in my backyard. But I went to school for percussion and. Like Cody said, and then I taught high school for 5 years before me and Cody decided to start the band and quit everything and just hit the road.
He was still teaching actually while I was in high school. My senior year, he was a student teacher in my history class, and I would come in and he would like nod at me but be like, "Don't talk to me. I'm supposed to be a teacher. We can't be friends."
Yeah, I'd be like, "You don't know me."
Yeah.
Scottie, I got to ask you though, in teaching, as you taught, you also learned as well, right? Because you're doing all kinds of different things.
100%. And everything that if I learned something on drums, there was always a way I could apply that to guitar or bass or piano. Like the reason I can play a piano is because I played marimba, which is like a big wooden piano, you play with mallets and I did that a whole lot in college. So I was always able to get around on a piano because of that. But I mean, all of my musical training, like I said, came from drums, but I was able to use that to practice for vocals and whatnot. Now, once we started the band, and we started getting really serious, and I'm going to be a singer as a career. I did constantly, even still to this day, looking up other videos and hearing people talk about vocal techniques and how to sing safely without damaging your vocals, and how to get your fry right so you can scream without blowing your brains out, and a lot of that stuff. And I'm always trying to get better and better with that every day.
Excellent.
The good news about modern society is, I mean, you can learn just about anything you want from YouTube. We didn't really have a lot of YouTube when I was learning to play guitar. I kind of had to just listen.
Right.
Dude, if we had YouTube when we were kids, oh my goodness.
Dude,
man.
if I had YouTube by the time I was 8, bro, oh my God.
I learned how to play guitar from the crackhead down the street, because that's the only person in my town that knew how to play guitar.
Wow.
Says a lot about your parents.
They didn't know. They didn't know. I'd be like, I'm going to ride my bike, Mom and Dad. And then I'd park my bike behind his house. And then I'd like sneak in, and he'd pull out his Strat and he'd teach me some things.
Nice. That's awesome. The band is Artifas. The album was Reflections. We're talking with guitarist Cody Criswell and lead singer Scottie. I can't remember your last name.
Somerville.
Sorry. I'm sorry about that. And the album is out now. You can check it out. It's 11 tracks, 37 minutes. Just excellent rock. I call it rock and roll. You guys have so many different genres in there. It's rock and roll.
Yeah, man.
I like to end my interviews with just some quick, fun questions. I will admit the first guy to get the question is going to have a disadvantage over the second guy because he doesn't know the question, but just roll with me, okay?
Okay.
All right, I'll start with Cody. What is something you splurge the most money on?
I can't answer that question. Beer.
What's the rating on this show?
Yeah.
We're uncensored.
Okay. Marijuana.
All right. Scottie.
I second that.
All right. Scottie, first car you bought with your own money.
Nissan Maxima, 96.
All right. Cody.
The road dog. That thing is a machine.
I've never bought a car with my own money.
Never bought
Okay. I haven't had a car though. To be fair, I haven't had a car for like 6 years. So
right.
Cody sold his guitar to buy the guitar we tour with.
Yeah, right. I sold my nice cherry red Mustang to buy new gear.
All right, that is a sacrifice. Cody, favorite old school wrestler?
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
All right, Scottie.
Shawn Michaels.
Oh,
right. The Heartbreak Kid.
Yeah.
Scottie, if you could pick a television show to have an Artifas song placed in, what show would you pick?
Oh man. I'm gonna have to go with. Oh my gosh.
I don't even know how to choose that.
I'm just gonna go with Mandalorian.
All right.
Oh.
Cody, you got one?
There's so many, but sure. How about Dexter?
All right.
Ooh.
Cody, favorite toy growing up as a child?
Does my penis count?
I was gonna say it can count. Your penis can count.
I'm gonna go with that.
All right, Scottie.
I think I'm gonna have to go with my Power Rangers.
All right. Scottie, favorite city that you've ever been to?
Chicago.
Cody.
Ooh, shit. I don't know. I liked Denver. Denver was kind of cool.
Denver. And it's legal out there.
That was why I liked it.
All right. Last one, and this is the one that we have the most fun with. Cody, if they were to make a biopic of your life, what actor would you pick to play you? And it's your movie, your life. You can pick anybody.
Oh shit. That is such a hard.
Can I pick your actor and you pick mine?
Okay.
There you go.
Okay, I'm gonna pick Russell Brand.
Fuck yes. I'm down with that. Honestly, that was kind of like a massive compliment. I hope that I do you justice. For Scottie, that's so hard.
That's what she said.
Oh, I was waiting for it.
Oh my god, you guys. I don't know. I'm coming blank for actors now, honestly. All I can think about is like George Clooney.
Okay, I'm down with that.
Let's just go with George Clooney. How about that?
I want to see George Clooney headbanging on stage.
I
That'd
just want to see George Clooney wear your outfit.
that'd be awesome. Gentlemen, this has been a hoot, and I thought it would be once I knew I was going to get both of you. A lot of fun. And once again, we've been chatting with Cody and Scottie from Artifas. Their album Reflections out now. Go to www.artifas.com. You can find out things about the band and check that out as well. And good luck to you gentlemen going out on tour. I hope you slay it every night and your gas tank is always filled for free.
Thanks so
Thank
much.
you, sir.
All right. Take care, guys. Thank you.
You too.
Bye-bye.